morning. It's been a while, but I wanted to step on and talk a little bit about prana. There was a question asked in the Facebook group that they didn't understand this concept of air prana. So I thought I'd really relate it to symptoms that most of us are familiar with on some level. Do you struggle with anxiety, depression, or overwhelm? This concept of prana or air will help us to see a hidden aspect that underlies most of these symptoms. I typically work with people who want to change their lives for the better. I believe that people have the power to heal themselves through diet, lifestyle, and habits. The reason we're not doing it is because we don't know how to integrate the knowledge into experience. If we knew how, we would see results. I'm always here if you want to know more information or how we can personalize this for you. This talk today should be short, 5-10 minutes, and we're going to go over general understanding of prana and how it relates to our thoughts and how this can show up in our mental condition. This is not an individualized approach. This is an overview. So first I will share the discussion that we're having on Facebook, on the Facebook group. Let me link over here. We'll start go this way. I'm going to do my handy dandy writing. That's sort of messy, but it helps to give us a visual. Whiteboard. Okay. So for those who have been following on Facebook, I've introduced the topic of space or ether. And we talked about how this relates to silence or margin, or if you're looking to create new change habits, most of us don't have enough space in our lives. The second element we'll talk about is air. And this is today, we'll talk about prana. And as a quick overview of the others, eventually we'll get into fire. This relates to our action, our courage, etc. Water, which is our flow. And earth, which is our stability, our stamina, our ability to grow. Related to the doshas, if you're familiar with Ayurveda at all, these are Vata. This is Pitta. And this is Kapha. So what we're going to talk today is largely rooted in Vata. So anxiety, depression, overwhelm, all of these things that we can experience. Let's take a look here. I'm worried about air in blue. So prana is a subtle form of air. And as we said, it's related to the Vata dosha. Air is how we relate to time. If our breath is slow, so this is our body, and we'll call this our mind, which if you've studied yoga or Ayurveda at all, you know that the mind is in every aspect of your body, and it's not only related to your body, but for a picture, we'll talk about this. The way that we breathe in and out, go up and down, inhalation, exhalation, directly affects our mind. If our breath is slow, we experience time more slowly. There's some practitioners that say, and Ayurvedic doctors that will say that in our lifetime, we have a certain amount of breaths we can take. My dog's in here. She's enjoying the talk too. So controlling our breath is key. We use in yoga, if you may be familiar with, pranayama. This meaning breath, control. Breath is related to our thoughts. In this sort of depression, what leads to depression is an overthinking, and it leads to burnout and depletion. We can rewire our thoughts, but it takes time, and it also takes time to stop listening to our thoughts. We have to stop engaging with these thoughts that are detrimental. Anxiety is the same. Anxiety is this first not being able to control what's happening and the ruminating thoughts, and we work with the air element in this way, and one way is through the prana. Overwhelm is when the thoughts look like this. And they're just all over the place, and we can't find a stable area within this space, really. This is when we're looking for more space to separate the thoughts from each other. A way to stop the spinning thoughts is we can replace a single thought with an affirmation or a mantra and breath control. There are as many different techniques as there are for different minds. And so if you've been introduced to some of these, they may be working for you, others may not. The goal is to find one that fits your lifestyle. Another aspect of prana, I say this often, as I say prana and protein. So if we want energy, if we think of oxygen, oxygen's what makes a fire light, is we need prana or air. So oxygen, air, prana, protein, energy. And I only say this because most people don't get enough protein because our carbs are so easy to get. And then we fill up on carbs and we don't feel strong, and we're not building muscle, and we're not gaining energy in this way. So we're not going to focus on the protein today, but we'll focus on the prana. Foods that have prana are, we can sum it up very easily. Whole foods. Real foods, foods that come from the ground, from trees, foods that haven't been processed. How does this relate to anxiety, depression, overwhelm? The research is there. The mind and the gut are intimately connected. There is no way around this. And the way that the Ayurvedic view is that this aliveness that comes from whole foods is prana. And so this is where we get our energy from. And so this also helps us to think clearer. So what I'd like to introduce this week is I'll share on the Facebook group, and I'll link that Facebook group below, is I'd like to challenge everyone to eat as many plants as you can a week, a different variety. There is a PhD, and I'll also link her diet. It's called the Rainbow Diet. Her name's Deanna, and her last name's escaping me. But she has done quite a bit of extensive research, and her recommendation is that an optimal is 30 a week. And this seems like a lot, but if we sit with this, it's actually quite doable. It can be done by adding even in teas. Your herbal teas will have prana. So that's what I'll leave you with today, is to include more prana and to breathe slowly to control the breath. And hopefully this helps you get to the next step on understanding your relationship with your mind.